And now we're entering into the top 5, and at number 5 we have 1974's Mr. Majestic. Fantastic action crime thriller film. And this one is so great, man, and awesome. Charles Bronson stars in this alongside, let's see, he was in as Linda Cristal, Al Lettery, who of course is famous for The Godfather. He played Solozzo in The Godfather. Paul Coslow, he's a frequent Bronson collaborator. He worked in at least 3 Bronson pictures that I can think of: Mr. Majestic, Love and Bullets, and Stonekiller. Terrific actor as well. Bronson plays Vincent Majestic, a melon farmer, ex-Vietnam veteran, but he now runs a melon farm, and he just wants to get his melons in, his melon crop. But his plans are thwarted by the character played by Paul Coslow, I believe Bobby Copas, and also you have Frank Randa, played by Al Lettery, who's involved as well. And they're working against him, and it's a fantastic film. It's actually written by Elmore Leonard. I'm not too sure if it was a book by Elmore Leonard that got turned into a film. It might be, but I definitely know the screenplay is written by him, and it's really a fantastic film. There's nothing really I can say about it. It has a great score, great action scenes. Bronson has probably at one of his all-time best roles as the badass Mr. Majestic, you know, Vincent Majestic. There's really nothing too much I can say about this film. It is a Bronson favorite of many, including of course yours truly, because it is here at the number 5 spot. And I don't know what I can add to it. Just check it out if you haven't, and if you have, check it out again, because it's that awesome. It's definitely one that deserves, you know, repeat viewings. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking I'm gonna watch it again tonight. Hey, anyway, let's move on to number 4. Here we go.
You make sounds like you're a mean little ass kicker. Only I ain't convinced. You keep talking, I'm gonna take your head off.
At number 4, we have Death Wish from 1974. Yes, we're going to stay in 1974 for a bit with these two films, Mr. Majestic and then this one, Death Wish. What can I say about Death Wish that hasn't been said already? We all know the story. Charles Bronson plays Paul Kersey, a mild-mannered, liberal architect who, after a vacation in Hawaii, returns to New York, returns to his work as an architect, and while he's at work, his wife and daughter are followed home from the supermarket by these couple of you know, thugs, these punks, muggers, and they get assaulted, and his wife gets beaten up, his daughter gets raped, and his wife eventually dies, and Charles Bronson goes into this sort of psycho state where, you know, it's really building up towards him becoming the vigilante that we all know and love. It takes about 30 minutes for him to actually plug his first victim. He goes to Arizona first and stuff like that, and once he returns to New York, he gets a gun from his friend in Arizona, and then he goes out into the streets, and he goes and kills some muggers, and he becomes this folk hero, you know, known as the vigilante. It's a great film with great themes and great subject matter, and it's one that definitely still holds up today, because we still have crime, we still have muggers. You know, it's a subject that I think will not die out anytime soon, if you know what I mean. It's not a subject that is, you know, only for that time period. It's timeless, you know, because crime is still a thing, like I said. It's what can I say? It's Charles Bronson's career-defining role. It is only logical that it makes the top 10 and that it comes in this high. However, there's one Death Wish film that I do like better than the original, even though I recognize that the original is the better made film, if that makes sense. And we do have another Death Wish film at the number 3 spot, so let's go on to that. So the Death Wish film at the number 3 spot is Death Wish 2 from 1982. The first film that Bronson did with Canon Films, or at least he did with Menachem Golem and Yoram Globus. Death Wish 2 is pretty much the quintessential sequel, if you know what I mean, because it does everything a sequel needs to do. It takes the original, it builds upon it, and what I like the most about Death Wish 2 is that while in Death Wish 1 it was cool to see Bronson on the streets killing muggers, in this film he actually goes out only after the people that have wronged him. He knows the faces this time, he knows who he's going after, and that's what he does. He doesn't, randomly kill people. So I like the fact that he actually gets revenge this time around. Other than that, I like that the violence is sort of turned up to 11. It has a way more sleazier feel. And believe me, Death Wish was already quite a sleazy film, if that makes sense. But Death Wish 2, it does everything a sequel needs to do. It takes the original, turns up to 11. Bigger is better. Tweaks some of the things that people might not have liked about the first one, because I know that a lot of people are like, well, the first one he didn't really get revenge, so I liked that the second one that he gets revenge, and I'm actually one of them. I understand the concept and I like the execution in Death Wish because New York is such a big place. The chances that he would come across the muggers that actually attacked his family, it is very slim if we look at it realistic. So Death Wish 1 is more realistic in that way, but Death Wish 2 is more fantasy in that aspect, and hell, I like fantasy over reality. If I want to watch reality, I'm going to watch a reality TV show, right? If I watch my movies, I'm going to watch, I know that's a movie, if that makes any sense. So for that aspect, I like Death Wish 2 much better, and has a great cast. Jill Ireland is in this one as well. The cop from Death Wish 1 returns, Vincent Gardenia. One of the muggers is Lawrence Fishburne before he became famous, which is really interesting. Everybody that played a punk in Death Wish, or a lot of people that played punks in Death Wish films or in Bronson films, they went on to do bigger things. In the first one of the muggers was actually played by a Yef. In the first Death Wish, one of the punks was actually played by a very young Jeff Goldblum. There you go. And in Death Wish 2, we have Lawrence Fishburne. I believe in Death Wish 3, one of the punks was an actor in that. He went on to do Star Trek and stuff. So if you get cast in a Charles Bronson film playing a punk, there's chances that your career is gonna go up. I always thought that was interesting. But anyway, Death Wish 2, terrific film. Like I said, it builds upon the original very well, and I absolutely love it. It's more entertaining for me than Death Wish 1, even though, like I said, Death Wish 1 is definitely the better made film. If we are talking about the old school of cinema, it's definitely way more respected in that regard. But hey, this is all my opinion. Of course, you're gonna have yours, and I would love to know yours. So let me know down in the comments below what you think of Death Wish versus Death Wish 2. Are you on the same page with me, or are you different? Let us know. We can always talk about it. And while we're at it, let us know your top 10 down below if you can put together one. It's a very hard list to do for me, so maybe for you it could be easier. I'd love to see and chat and discuss all these films with you guys. Anyway, it's time to move on to the top 2. Here we go. At number 2, we have my second favorite, well, obviously because it is at the number 2 spot, but my second favorite all-time Charles Bronson film, bar none. This is, yeah, we're gonna get to it, but number 2, Hard Times, 1975. Charles Bronson, James Coburn, Stoddard Martin, Jill Ireland. This is such a terrific film in which Charles Bronson plays Cheney, a bare-knuckle fighter who arrives in this town. He meets up with James Coburn, who's this manager and bettor and stuff of fights. He bets on the fights and he manages a couple of fighters very poorly. He's always down on his luck. He's a bad gambler and everything like that. He meets Bronson, he sees potential in Bronson. Bronson has his first fight in the film. He actually knocks the guy out with one punch, that's it, boom. Corbin's like, oh shit, yeah, I'll work with you. And they move to New Orleans, they're gonna make some money because this takes place during the Great Depression, so money is hard to come by. So anyway, that's the gist of the story. Bronson's drifter, he comes into town, he wants to make money in bare knuckle fighting. And James Coburn is his trainer, or his, you know, his friend and manager, if you will. Interesting dynamic between them. Bronson, I think Bronson, if I had to guess, Bronson probably has about 50 lines of dialogue, and that's about it. He rarely speaks in this film, which a lot of people, you know, the doubters and the critics of Bronson are going to be like, oh, that's a good thing that he doesn't talk that much because he doesn't really have acting skills. He has acting skills, believe me. I'm going to be the first one to stand up for Bronson and say that the man did some great performances and did some great acting. But that aside, the fact that he has very few dialogue in this film, it really works in this one. He really becomes this sort of mythical figure because, you know, he's very stoic, he doesn't say a lot. You know, his fist do the talking for him. And it's a great drama, it's a great, yeah, this one is more of a drama actually as opposed to an action film, but there's plenty of fight scenes. And apparently there's a lot of material for the film missing. I'm gonna bring this up again every time I get the chance because I really want to see an extended cut of Hard Times. I mean, a lot of directors are putting out extended versions of their films nowadays. Francis Ford Coppola did a recut of The Godfather Part 3, for example. Sylvester Stallone did the Rocky 4 recut. I would like to see Walter Hill, Mr. Hill, if you're watching this video, please make it happen. Do an extended cut. I know that there's footage out there still for the film. If you read Paul Talbot's book, Bronson's Lose Again, on the set with Charles Bronson, he mentions that there's some scenes that are still out there. If I can remember that correctly, but I'm pretty positive that is what he said. I would love to see an extended version of Hard Times. It's a great film as it is, but I would love to see it extended nonetheless. Because there's a lot of scenes on the cutting room floor with Bronson and Jill Ireland that would have added to their scenes and chemistry and whatever. It would have made their scenes better. And there's some couple of fights that are on the cutting room floor, which would be awesome to see. I mean, more fighting scenes with Bronson. Hell, I want to see that. So if anybody from the film is watching, anybody from the production company or whatever, from the studio, I meant to say, or Walter Hill, if you're watching. First of all, if you're watching Walter Hill, thank you. I love your films. Anyway, yeah, Hard Times, man. I know I talked more this time about the extended scenes or whatever, but it's a terrific film. I really cannot praise this film enough. One of the points why I really would like to see an extended version is, even I think Paul Talbot mentioned it in the book, if the film had the original running time, because I believe the film now is about 90 minutes, and it was scripted and shot and produced as a 2-hour film. And if it was released as a 2-hour film with all the scenes intact, there's many that believe that Bronson could have gotten an Academy Award nomination. And that's one of the main reasons I want to see it, because you know, Bronson, again, a lot of people are like, he couldn't act, he really wasn't an actor. Bullshit, he was an actor, he was great at what he did. Yeah, he's not a method actor or anything like that, but you know, just to prove the naysayers wrong, I would love to see the extended version if it really adds to the performance. That's one of the main reasons. Anyway, I know I'm going way off topic, but I really had to get that off my chest. You know, sort of defending Charles Bronson. I'm going to be the first one. Hey, I would not be 101 Bronson if I wouldn't defend the man himself, you know. But anyway, what can you do? Hard Times, even 90-minute cut that we have nowadays, that we have today, it's, no matter how you look at it, it's a terrific film, great soundtrack. I wish the soundtrack would get released as well, but that's another side point. Anyway, let's move on to the definitive and all-time Charles Bronson film for me, the #1 spot. You guys are probably gonna know what's coming up, but let's make it official anyway.
Time sure flies. It's already past 12.
#1, we have Once Upon a Time in the West from 1968. Not only my favorite spaghetti western, my favorite Bronson film, but like I said previously, I always go back and forth with this film and Scarface from 1983 for different reasons, obviously, but I always go back and forth between those two films as the pick for my #1 film of all time. You know, it really depends on what time of day you ask me, but Once Upon a Time in the West, terrific film. In my opinion, it's like the definition of what a film should be. You know, it has everything in there. The direction by Sergio Leone is about as perfect as it can get. The performances by Bronson, Henry Fonda, Jason Robards, and the lovely Claudia Cardinal, and the rest of the cast, of course, but those are the main four. Terrific acted film, terrific music by Ennio Morricone. Like I said, it ticks all the boxes for me. Great soundtrack, great cast, great acting, great directing, great story, great screenplay, right? Great writing. Great suspense. The opening scene in the film is probably the best opening scene ever put to celluloid. A lot of people, I know there's always this debate between The Good, the Bad, the Ugly and Once Upon a Time in the West. For me, they're both pitch perfect, to be honest. But I just like Once Upon a Time in the West slightly better, if that makes sense. It is a very close call though, but yeah. Anyway, we all know the story. Charles Bronson plays harmonica, who is this very mysterious gunfighter / drifter who is looking for Frank, played by Henry Fonda, because he actually has a score to settle with Henry Fonda, and I'm not gonna go too much into it for people that haven't seen it. But on the other side, we also have a bandit played by Jason Robards. The character's called Cheyenne. And then we also have Jill, Claudia Cardinale, coming into town. She actually has inherited the Sweetwater Ranch, which is this ranch which is going to be very profitable in the near future because the railroad tracks are going to go through it. Unfortunately for Jill Ireland though, she was going to go there to meet up with her newlywed husband and his family and what would have been her family. But unfortunately, she arrives to find that everybody has been massacred, and it's all a war. It's all because of this piece of land that's going to be very valuable. There's also this railroad baron involved, played by Gabriel Forzetti, who a lot of people will know from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. He played James Bond's father-in-law in that film. He's also in this. And yeah, what can I say? Once Upon a Time in the West, great film, great performances, great music. In my opinion, my favorite soundtrack of all time by Ennio Morricone. Favorite Charles Bronson performance. It ticks all the boxes once again, and yeah, what can I say? It is Once Upon a Time in the West. It is one of the best films ever made. Like I said, I always compete between. It's always a competition between this one and Scarface, again for different reasons both. And, you know, for competing for my #1 film of all time. Let's just say they're very close, and yeah, once again, it depends on what day you ask me, on what answer I'm gonna give. But terrific film. Anyway, and that closes out the list of the top 10 Charles Bronson films. Do hope you all enjoyed. Once again, let me know your thoughts and comments down below in the comment section. Let's discuss a couple of these Bronson films. What are your favorites? I would love to know and discuss these things with you guys. yeah, it was a hard list to do. I do hope you all enjoyed it. Uh, in terms of the honorable mentions, yeah, there were still so much that did not make the list. The ones I mentioned, as I was making this video, I kept thinking like I did not mention From Noon Till 3, so here you go, From Noon Till 3. This would have been an honorable mention as well. Really wanted that one to make the list, but anyway, the list is final, and I'm not gonna change it, but I am gonna once again put the offer out to do a follow-up to this, in which I discuss the 10 films beyond the top 10, so extend into a top 20. And if there's enough interest, I'm definitely going to do that. So anyway, enough of all that. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a great day wherever you are in the world. Stay safe and healthy. God bless and take care. Keep punching, as I always say, and see you in the next one. Take care.
I hope you'll come back someday.
Someday.